Before we venture into the forest tonight, let us first attend to the vessel that carries you, your body. It has served you well today. It has moved, it has thought, it has perceived. Now its only task is to be heavy. Lie still. Feel the surface beneath you rising up to meet your weight. Imagine that the mattress is not just a physical object, but a cloud of support, perfectly contoured to your shape. Let's scan your body for any pockets of tension you might be holding onto unknowingly. Start at the crown of your head. Imagine a warm, golden oil being poured gently onto your scalp. It is warm, soothing, and heavy. Feel it trickling down, smoothing out your forehead. Let your eyebrows drift apart. Let that warmth flow down into your jaw. Unhinge it slightly. Release your tongue from the roof of your mouth, down into your neck, melting the tight muscles of your shoulders. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears, sinking 2 inches lower into the bed. Down through your arms, past the elbows, to your wrists and hands. Your fingers are curling naturally, soft and empty. There is nothing to grasp. Down through your chest, your stomach, your hips. Your legs are heavy logs sinking into the earth. Your feet are relaxed, toes loose. Take a slow, deliberate breath in through your nose, imagining you are inhaling the scent of fresh rain on dry earth. Hold it for a heartbeat, and release it through your mouth with a soft, long sigh. With that breath, you have signaled to your nervous system that you are safe. Imagine now that you are standing at the edge of a gentle, sloping path covered in soft moss. The air is cool and smells of pine and old books. As you walk down this path, the lights of the world behind you dim, and a soft, golden glow beckons from the valley below. Step by step, leaving the noise behind. Step by step, walking into the quiet. Welcome to the Amber Forest. Chapter 1. The Valley of Eternal Autumn. Hidden in a fold of the world where the maps are blank and the compass needles spin aimlessly, there lies the Valley of the Amber Forest. Here, the seasons do not cycle in a chaotic rush. Here, it is eternally perfectly autumn. The sun in this valley is always setting, hanging low and heavy like a ripe apricot on the horizon, bathing the world in a perpetual golden hour. The light is thick, syrupy, and warm. It touches the leaves of the colossal trees, turning them into stained glass windows of crimson, gold, russet, and bronze. In the center of this forest stood the archive. It was a sprawling, majestic structure built entirely of living wood and glass. It did not look built, it looked grown. The roof was thatched with thick layers of copper-colored moss, and grand chimneys released thin, curling ribbons of wood smoke that smelled of cedar and clove. The guardian of this place was an elderly man named Thaddeus. Thaddeus was the archivist of leaves. He was a man of quiet habits and slow movements. He wore a robe made of thick, soft corduroy in a deep shade of forest green. On his feet were slippers lined with sheepskin, which made no sound as he shuffled across the polished wooden floors of the archive. Tonight, the forest was particularly still. The wind was not a gale, but a whisper, a gentle breath that nudged the trees just enough to make them sway in a hypnotic dance. Swoosh, hush, swoosh. Thaddeus stood at the great circular window of the main reading room. He held a ceramic mug in his hands, warming his fingers. He watched the leaves falling outside. In this valley, the trees never went bare. For every leaf that drifted down in a slow, spiraling waltz, a new golden bud instantly appeared. It was a cycle of infinite abundance. "A peaceful night," Thaddeus murmured. His voice was like the sound of dry leaves crunching underfoot, textured and gentle. He turned from the window and looked at his domain. The archive was vast. It was a cathedral of comfort. Instead of cold stone, the pillars were the trunks of massive redwood trees. Instead of pews, there were thousands of overstuffed armchairs upholstered in velvet. And everywhere, from the floor to the vaulted ceiling, were shelves. But these shelves did not hold books, they held jars. Millions of glass jars of all shapes and sizes. And inside each jar was a preserved autumn leaf, glowing with a faint inner light. Chapter 2. The Collection of Memories. Thaddeus set his mug down on a side table made of polished walnut. It was time for the evening collection. He picked up his basket. It was woven from willow branches and lined with soft flannel. He walked to the heavy oak door, turned the brass handle, and stepped out onto the porch. The air outside was crisp, the kind of cool that makes you appreciate the warmth of your clothes. It felt clean in his lungs. Thaddeus walked down the porch steps and into the thick carpet of moss that covered the forest floor. He moved slowly. There was no quota to meet. There was no deadline. He stepped beneath a great maple tree, its canopy a burning crown of orange fire. A single leaf detached itself from a high branch. Thaddeus watched it fall. It drifted left. It drifted right. It somersaulted in slow motion. It took a long time to reach the ground. Drift, spin, drift, land. Thaddeus bent down. His joints did not creak. The magic of the valley kept him limber. He picked up the leaf. It was perfect. Veins of dark red ran through a field of bright gold. He held it up to the twilight. In this valley, every leaf held a memory of the earth. This one held the memory of a warm afternoon breeze. "A fine edition," he whispered. He placed it gently into his flannel-lined basket. He continued his walk. The forest floor was soft, absorbing his footsteps. Step, squish, step, squish. He found an oak leaf that held the memory of rain. He found a birch leaf that held the memory of moonrise. He found a small, delicate aspen leaf that held the memory of silence. He gathered them with reverence. He wasn't just picking up debris. He was curating the history of the forest. Around him, the woodland creatures were settling in. A family of hedgehogs rustled in the undergrowth, preparing for sleep. An owl hooted softly from a high branch, a low, mournful, comforting sound. Hoo, hoo, hoo. The basket was now full. The leaves rustled softly against each other, a sound like whispering paper. Thaddeus turned back toward the warm glow of the archive windows. Chapter 3. The Ink of Twilight. Back inside, the warmth of the archive wrapped around Thaddeus like a blanket. The fire in the great stone hearth was crackling steadily. Pop, crackle, hiss. The logs were burning low, glowing with a deep, pulsating heat. Thaddeus walked to his workspace, a massive desk carved from a single slab of petrified wood. It was cluttered in the most organized way. Calm piles of parchment, pots of ink, and soft brushes. He sat down in his chair. It was an ancient leather chair that sighed when he sat in it. He took the leaves from his basket one by one. His task was to label them. He reached for his inkwell. The ink in the amber forest was special. It was harvested from the indigo berries that grew by the stream. It was dark blue, iridescent, and smelled faintly of blackberries. He dipped his quill, a silver feather from a starlight heron, into the ink. He picked up the maple leaf. With a steady hand, he wrote on the small tag attached to the jar, Acer Sacram, harvested at twilight. Contains the warm breeze. The scratching of the quill on the paper was rhythmic. Scritch, scratch, dip, scritch, scrack, dip. It was a meditative sound. It was the sound of order being created from chaos. Thaddeus worked methodically. He examined each leaf under a magnifying glass, admiring the intricate network of veins, the subtle gradients of color. He brushed off specks of dust with a soft camel hair brush. He placed each leaf into its own glass jar. He sealed the jar with a cork stopper, pop. Once sealed, the leaf inside began to glow softly, illuminating the jar like a lantern. He placed the jars on the shelves, row after row of glowing amber, gold, and red lights. The archive didn't need lamps. It was lit by the stored beauty of the forest. Chapter 4. The River of Slumber. His work finished, Thaddeus felt the pleasant weight of tiredness pulling at his eyelids. But before bed, he had one final ritual. He walked to the back of the archive, where a small, clear stream flowed directly through the building. The architect had built the floor around the water, allowing nature to enter the home. This was the River of Slumber. The water was crystal clear, flowing over smooth, colorful pebbles. Burble, splash, flow. The sound of running water filled the back of the room, a constant white noise lullaby. Thaddeus knelt by the stream. He took a small wooden bowl and dipped it into the water. He poured the water over a bed of river ferns growing in a planter by the wall. The ferns uncoiled as the water touched them, releasing a scent of fresh oxygen and damp earth. He sat on a bench by the stream for a moment, just watching the water flow. He watched the way the water curved around the stones. He watched the ripples distort the reflection of the ceiling beams. The water was endless. It came from the mountains and it went to the sea. It did not hurry. It did not worry. It just flowed. Thaddeus matched his breathing to the flow of the river. Inhale as the water approaches. Exhale as it flows away. In and out. The tension in his back released. The thoughts in his mind, which had been slowing down all evening, finally came to a standstill. He was simply present, a witness to the water. Chapter 5. The Tea of Dreams. Thaddeus stood up, his knees popping gently. He walked to the kitchenette, a cozy corner with copper pots hanging from hooks. He filled a kettle with water and placed it on the stove. While he waited, he opened a tin canister. Inside was his special bedtime blend: dried apple pieces, cinnamon bark, chamomile flowers, and a pinch of star anise. The kettle began to sing a soft, low whistle. He poured the water. The steam rose up, swirling in the golden light. The aroma filled the room instantly. It smelled like a warm apple pie, like comfort, like home. He took his mug and walked to the fireplace. He sat in the largest armchair, the one right in front of the hearth. He placed his feet on the ottoman. He wrapped both hands around the warm ceramic mug. He felt the heat seeping into his palms, warming his blood. He took a sip, sweet, spicy, warm. He felt the liquid traveling down his throat, warming his chest, settling in his stomach. It was a potion of relaxation. He stared into the fire. The flames danced. Blue at the base, orange in the middle, yellow at the tips. They flickered and waved. That is, his eyes began to lose focus. The flames blurred into a warm, dancing light. His eyelids felt heavy. So heavy. It was becoming a struggle to keep them open. And he didn't want to struggle. He wanted to yield. Chapter 6. The Velvet Moth. A soft movement caught his eye. Fluttering down from the high rafters came a large moth. It was the velvet moth, a creature native to the archive. Its wings were covered in thick, white fur, and it spanned the size of a dinner plate. It moved in absolute silence. It fluttered around the room, visiting the glowing jars of leaves. It was checking them like a night watchman. It fluttered past Thaddeus, the gentle breeze from its wings brushing his cheek. It landed on the mantelpiece above the fire. It folded its wings and became still, looking like a plush decoration. Thaddeus smiled sleepily. "Good night, little friend," he whispered. The moth twitched its antennae in acknowledgement. The presence of the moth made the room feel even safer. He was not alone. The forest was watching over him. The moth was watching over him. The trees outside were standing guard. Chapter 7. The Tower of Sleep. Thaddeus drained the last drop of his tea. He set the mug down. He stood up and walked to the spiral staircase carved into the trunk of a massive oak tree in the center of the room. He climbed the stairs, step, creak, step, creak. The sound was comforting, the sound of a house settling for the night. He reached his bedroom at the top of the tower. It was a circular room with windows on all sides, looking out over the canopy of the amber forest. The moon had risen. It was a giant harvest moon, bathing the forest in silver and gold light. Thaddeus extinguished the lantern. The room plunged into a soft semi-darkness, lit only by the moon and stars. He went to his bed. It was a 4-poster bed made of pine, with thick, fluffy duvets and piles of pillows. He climbed in. The sheets were cool, crisp cotton. The duvet was heavy wool. He pulled the covers up to his chin. He wiggled his toes, enjoying the friction of the sheets. He lay on his back and looked up at the ceiling. The wooden beams were arranged in a star pattern. He listened to the forest one last time, the wind and the leaves. She, the distant owl, the crackle of the dying fire downstairs. His body felt like it was sinking through the mattress, down into the floor, down into the roots of the tree, merging with the earth. He was grounded. He was heavy. He was home. Thaddeus closed his eyes. The golden light of the valley faded into the velvet black of sleep. 1 breath. 2 breaths. Silence. And now you're there in the tower room with Thaddeus. The air is still. The smell of cedar and cinnamon lingers faintly. You are safe in the heart of the amber forest. Let us count you down into that deep root-like sleep. Imagine a single golden leaf detaching from the very top of the tallest tree in the forest. It begins its slow descent to the soft moss below. 10. The leaf detaches. You let go of your last thought. 9. It drifts slowly to the left. Your body feels heavier. 8. It drifts to the right. Your shoulders sink deeper. 7. It spins gently. Your eyelids are sealed shut. 6. Falling through the cool air, deeper down. 5. Halfway to the ground. The world is far away. 4. The colors are fading into soft gray. 3. Almost there. The moss is waiting. 2. Gentle, slow, soft. 1. The leaf touches the ground. Silence. You are rooted. You are resting. You are asleep. Good night. Good night. Good night.